Good morning, everyone. I woke up today coming off of a spiritual and emotional high. Yesterday was absolutely amazing for me, and I woke up today planning out my day of relaxation. Hence the bonnet and the nightgown still. But in the midst of all of that, I began to have a conversation with God, and like He tends to do with me, He started speaking to me through a vision, and it had me in tears, humble tears of humility. And this isn't just for me, so I am going to release this. And if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. But this is a message regarding our elders. So many of them are walking around carrying weight on their crosses that they have no business carrying. We all have crosses to bear. We all have things that are assigned to us, that are attached to us, and we have to manage the weight of that cross and can let and allow the weight of that cross to continue to strengthen us and to help us grow and to become those vessels of God and to be used in the way, shape, fashion, and form that He would have us to be used. But unfortunately, a lot of us are also carrying weight that we shouldn't be carrying. And it bogs us down and it keeps us from truly manifesting. What we don't realize is a lot of our elders, especially, are carrying a lot of weight, unnecessary weight, that could be removed from them with simple acts of grace and mercy. Grace and mercy is given unto us daily. It is renewed unto us daily. Unmerited favor, grace and mercy. God gives it to us all daily. And we readily accept it whether we realize it or not. But what we fail to do is to extend that grace and mercy to others. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't had a perfect life. I don't know anybody who has had a perfect life. Regardless of what your issues are, if we sat and we all talked, we could all sit and come up with our own traumas and our own stories related to one person, two people, three people, four people, five people, on down our familial lines, especially. What we need to do, though, in acknowledging all those traumas, acknowledging all those events that have caused us harm, emotional, physical, psychological, spiritual, whatever the case may be, is we need to acknowledge them. But we also need to acknowledge the fact that the same grace that God extends us, we should also be extending. It is one thing to simply forgive somebody for you so that you can move on. But to stop and also extend them grace, letting them know that you no longer hold them to that, regardless of how you still may feel, because we all still have our own emotions that we have to work through. Who said that we had to be completely healed before we extended someone else grace? Extending grace is part of the healing process. In my vision, I encountered a woman that I had never met a day in my life. But I could feel the weight that she was carrying, and it was heavy. This was just a vision, and it still brings me to tears because her weight was that heavy. And all she needed was grace from her offspring, her children, her grandchildren, great grands, whoever. All she needed was for them to extend her some grace, for her to know that it was okay. Life may not have been perfect, but it was okay for her to put that weight down and not carry it anymore. Who are we to do that to them? I don't care what happened to you. I don't. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because there is nothing that has happened to you that gives you the right to withhold grace from anybody. Affording someone grace does not mean you allow them back into your life. It does not mean that you have truly gotten over what happened to you. It simply means that you refuse to keep allowing said trauma to have a direct effect on you by forcing you to constantly throw it in someone else's face. Hurt people, whether we realize it or not. More than half the time, it's not even intentional, which is the sad part. If we just extend grace this world would be a lot better place. Extending grace does not mean people don't have to be held accountable. It just means that you are not their God. You are not their judge, their jury, their spiritual executioner. Stop withholding grace while receiving grace from God. Find your elders. Talk to them. Even if they can't go there emotionally because of what going there for them entails, give them the grace and give them the space to be able to live outside of those traumas, outside of those actions that may have afflicted you, whatever the case may have been. Allow them to live out the rest of their years as light as possible. If they sat and they just completely and utterly opened up about what it is that they have been holding on to, if you saw the true extent of the weight that they carry every single day, you would be ashamed of yourself for withholding that grace. We forgive others for ourselves, but we extend grace because it is what God calls us to do. There are a lot of people in my life who have done some ugly, nasty, disgusting things to me. People that I love. But I extend them grace by not reacting and not responding in kind. Does not mean that I'm not still hurt or bothered. It just means that I refuse to continue to be a part of what ails them that causes them to continue to lash out and act out. And while I am not one to inadvertently withhold grace, I know what it feels like to have grace withheld, to have mercy withheld, to have forgiveness withheld. And because I know what it feels like, I don't want to be a part of that problem. I don't want to be a part of the generation that continues to withhold grace. So start with your elders and work your way down. If I have an ought with you, I don't care what the issue is. I don't care what it is. If you have an ought with me, just know that from where I'm concerned, you have grace. You have forgiveness. I don't hold anybody to anything because I trust God at the end of the day. And I know who I am and whose I am. And I know who you are and whose you are. So who am I to withhold forgiveness, to withhold grace? I couldn't sit and deliver this word if I was withholding grace, if I was withholding forgiveness from someone. And I'm not. I may not deal with you every day, but it does not mean that I'm withholding grace from you. It does not mean that I don't forgive you. Where these elders are, please extend them grace. They deserve it. I didn't mean for this video to be this long, but it is. It is what it is. Watch it or don't. Scroll past it or don't. Just know that just as I am hurting behind this vision and just as I am sitting here still in tears behind this vision, I can only imagine what God feels like and what it makes him feel. And in spite of it all, he still renews our favor, grace, and mercy every single day. We have Jesus to thank for that. Grace, it restores and it redeems. You are not God, but you are of God. And so is that person that you're withholding grace and mercy from. He pours down. It is for us to pour out. You guys be blessed.